Hi, my name is Shashank Suresh, a representative of Baby Phoenix Studios. We're a local indie studio in Oshawa that's starting up and looking to release our first game, Etheria Torah Story. Here is our team of skilled individuals capable of making such a great game. We have programmers, artists, and designers, and due to the fact that we have a small team, almost all of us have two roles in respect to game development and, of course, the indie business responsibilities, like marketing management, social media management, financial officer, etc. Now, what is our game? Well, Etheria Torah Story is a 3D RPG roguelite game that has the player utilize both melee and ranged combat fighting styles to purge the land of monsters born from the corrupted Aether. The inspirations that we've been able to look at more often were through Remnant from the Ashes and Soulworker. Although that's not entirely based off of these two games, as we looked at other games, we were more keen on the fact that the combat monsters road planning from Remnant seemed more concise with what we wanted, and the Soulworker art style seemed to be towards the direction that we all thought about. Now, what is the problem? Essentially, the problem is that many games nowadays, they're losing their attention to detail in the design and narration. And commonly, the community has complained that the early game is deemed to be extremely boring for certain people, for many of the communities, in fact. And on top of the boring gameplay, there has been difficulty utilizing the controls. For the people with physical disabilities, it's difficult to hold down a button or having to repeatedly press a button. With all knowing that, and the fact that there's a shortage of female leads in game, we are coming together to create Etheria Torah Story. We want to create a game that adheres to the important tasks the roguelite community has been asking for a while, and while also making it challenging and fun like a Souls-like game. So our SWOT analysis is that for the strengths, we want to make sure it's affordable, it's replayable, and it has a level of accessibility that's able to adhere to the community's asks. The opportunity is that currently, due to COVID and the trend afterwards, there is actually a very high indie game trend where there are players out there, gamers out there, that are seeking to actually only play indie games. And also we're able to tackle the fact that there's complaints of replayability, and within our game there are loads of chances to be able to replay. However, the weaknesses that we have is that we're a new company, we don't have much of a budget, and just because we're a new company and don't have much of a budget, we also don't have we're not reputable enough. But of course that comes with time, and we'll be able to make connections and grow ourselves from even more. The threats is that there are some other popular games out there like Hades, or even other games like other indie games like Hollow Knight. We want to make sure that our game is different, and while that is a threat in its own, it also has the potential for being able to make an impact towards this crowded marketplace of RPG and Souls-like genre. The competitors that we've seen so far that we will have to go against is the From Software company, where they created the Soulsborne franchise. Now, although they're relatively a big company, the fact that they created the Soulsborne franchise is what creates the current day market of what Souls games are supposed to look like. And then for Team Cherry, they're an Australian indie studio that actually created Hollow Knight, that a few years back was one of the biggest hypes in the game genre for roguelites. And for Supergiant Games, there's an American indie developer of Hades, a common and actually direct competitor that we are facing currently with our game. And Heart Machine, an American indie developer of Hyperlight Drifter. So our current plans right now is that we've already done the R&D and the game idea, and we've already conducted the market research, brainstorming a new game idea, and we've already drafted a simple narrative for the game to put the game mechanics together and have something for a prototype. In fact, it was around 3 days ago we've actually been able to complete the prototype development, and we're currently just polishing it up so that we can get into the end-to-end testing, the UI and bug fixing, and then we'll have an alpha test later on. So we're nearing the end of our phase 2, and we're actually approaching the beginning of our phase 3 at the moment. So here are the numbers. Over 50% of the indie games on Steam never really make more than $4,000. Meanwhile, 50% of the action-adventure games deliver up to $10,000. The game that we're going to price our game at $10.99 per unit, and with the estimate of 51 reviews for a game, utilizing the box letter method to calculate a number of 25,235 projected revenue, we have an estimated projected net revenue of 8,320. So, considering the approximation of 8,000 projected revenue in the first year and a development timeline of 12 to 18 months, we're expecting to earn immediately within the first year of its release, approximately $5,000 Canadian projected as a best case estimate. The revenue split up to provide a 2K Canadian is a best case estimate. The worst case scenario is that in the estimated revenue of $0 could be a possible exchange and for the unsuccessful release. And if it's failed, us being the startup studio will have to subsidize the actual cost of the development by the core members after the 12 months of no reported revenue. Thank you for listening.